Ghosts of the Deep is the second dungeon featured in the bi-weekly Rite of the Nine rotation, and it's definitely a step up in difficulty from Spire of the Watcher. The moths still do a ton of damage, and the Hive Guardians are still extremely scary, so today we'll be covering 7 tips and tricks that will help you optimize your fire teams to get you those Gold Ultimatum clears. I'm Above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription is greatly appreciated. Now let's get into it. Tip number 1 takes us to the opening encounter of the dungeon, and honestly, this one's more of a PSA than it is an actual tip itself. The opening encounter now requires just 3 rune imbues instead of 4, which honestly makes it feel so much better to run. With that said, you are now on a timer, so I highly recommend add clear focus loadouts with an eager edge sword to help you maneuver around the map quickly. You'll also want a high burst damage weapon like Lord of Wolves or Choir of One to help spawn kill the Hive Guardians. You can just use a Sparrow here, but you'll need to be careful of splash damage blowing it up unexpectedly. Tip number 2 takes us to Ecthar, and the first tip of this encounter is all about loadouts. This is probably the most difficult encounter to balance ad clear and damage in, and we tested several different comps, weapons, and strategies to help optimize this as best as possible for you guys. In terms of team comp, I recommend a Well Warlock with Sanguine Alchemy, a Bolt Charge Titan with Cuirass of the Falling Star, with your third fire team member running an ad clear focused prismatic build. In an ideal world, this would be a Prismatic Titan rocking an Inmost Syntho class item with Thunder Crash to still give you a bit of passive damage with the super, but if you guys have to play other classes, just make sure you use your best ad clear loadouts possible. We tested several DPS strats, including Lord of Wolves and Microcosm, but we ultimately found 1K to be best in slot again this week. When paired with a Storm's Keep Rally Barricade, 1K's Ignitions and Bolt Charge spam usually keep Ecthar staggered pretty consistently and still does easy 2-phase damage. The Rally Barricade is also fantastic for blocking the Sentinel shields from hitting you, which is a super underrated benefit of running a Bolt Charge Titan in your team. Microcosm is a solid replacement if you don't have 1K, while Lord of Wolves, to be honest, was far too inconsistent to recommend here due to how often the boss will slam you out of the well when up close. 1K is easy, keeps Ecthar under control, and is still capable of 2-phasing with very little setup. Tip number 3 is all about the best ways to position yourself in this encounter. There's a lot going on here, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the infinitely respawning ads, lucent moths, and tanky wizards that spawn when you imbue the symbols underwater. So let's start with 2 things that will help you navigate this encounter. First off, I highly recommend that your Well Warlock is the designated swimmer. Bolt Charge and Prismatic builds are far more potent for ad clear than a Well Warlock ever could be, so it only makes sense to send them underground while your teammates clear the room. The second is waiting to imbue the final symbol until your Well Warlock is in position for DPS. This allows them to spawn camp the knight before the boss can throw a suppressor grenade, which allows you to maximize your DPS window and avoid stupid deaths. Tip number 4 is also in Ecthar, but this one's all about ammo economy. The mechanics in this encounter don't actually take very long, which means it can be difficult to farm ammo with Not Swap unless you go out of your way to do it, especially when you consider that your Warlock will hardly be killing anything as they'll spend most of the encounter underwater. So, to avoid these issues, make sure you all have heavy ammo finders and scouts on your helmet, and after you've cleared the 3 knights and ogre that respawn after DPS has concluded, you can infinitely farm the ads for ammo from these staircases before swimming and cleansing the symbols at all. This ensures that you're maxed out on ammo for DPS, helping you secure an easy 2-phase. Tip number 5 takes us to Simmumah, the final boss encounter, and this one is related to loadouts once again. There are several weapons that can work here, but we're going to recommend a loadout that's easy to use while still comfortably 2-phasing. You can run 3 Queensbreakers to try and maximize your damage, but the boss moves around a ton, which can cause you to miss quite a few shots and severely hinder your damage instead. This is why I recommend that your Warlock throws on Divinity and gives you an easy way to crit the boss no matter how much Simmumah moves around. This also allows your Warlock to run Cenotaph to mark priority targets, and there are a ton of them in this encounter, which allows you to easily refill your ammo between damage phases, while both of your Titans should be on T-Crash with Cuirass of the Falling Star to take advantage of Bolt Charge. And once again, the rally barricades block most of the incoming splash damage, which helps keep you safe during DPS. Tip number 6 is all about how to navigate the final boss room. There are a few key things to keep in mind here. The first is that the boss will spawn a horde of moths at the start of the encounter, and will continue to do so as you imbue the hive runes around the arena. As long as you know this is coming, you'll always have the ability to reposition safely. The second tip is to always start with the Sentinel Titan Hive Guardian on the left-hand side of the arena, as it's easily the biggest threat to you of the three. A Curious T-Crash will actually one-shot this enemy and prevent any silly deaths from ever happening here. And by doing this early, you give yourself plenty of time to get your super back before DPS actually begins. The 7th and final tip involves how to properly start DPS. As most of you probably know, Oryx's knee was the best place to do damage in the normal version of Ghost of the Deep, as it gave you a clear line of sight on the boss. However, enemies hit much harder in Ultimatum, and Well is nowhere near as potent as it used to be, which means any adds that spawn behind you during damage can be a major problem to your survivability. So instead, we recommend damaging from Oryx's heart in the center of the arena, as you're completely surrounded by cover with a rally barricade protecting you from any splash damage that comes from the boss. So once you're ready to imbue the final symbol, have the Dunker wait near the body part while your two teammates grab aggro and deep sight for the buff carrier. Once deep sight is active, your two teammates should begin moving their way towards the chest to be ready for DPS right as it begins. The only downside to this location is that the boss can wander above you from time to time, but Divinity makes this pretty much a non-issue. So DPS the boss from here, secure your 2-phase, and Ultimatum Ghosts of the Deep is a GG. If you guys found this guide useful, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated, and you can catch me live doing Gold Ultimatum helps all week long over at twitch.tv/above, and I'd love to see you in the live stream. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!